Today I want to talk about how to search your stored procedures and ad hoc queries for different text. Was that too cheesy? It felt pretty cheesy. Have you ever wanted to search for something that was referenced in the body of a SQL query, whether it's in a stored procedure function or just an ad hoc query? Maybe you're renaming the column in a table and you want to see what queries are going to be affected by that renamed column, or maybe you want to search your database to see what queries stored procedures are using select star. So today I want to go over two different ways that I use to search through the SQL query text on my SQL servers. The first way is really great if your query is in a stored procedure, a function, a view, and we can basically use the system catalog view of sys.SQL modules to find the text of our different stored procedures functions and so on. So if we were searching for that renamed column, we could just say where definition like, and then the name of our column, and it would return the results of wherever that column is referenced in any of those types of objects. I found this to be really useful because it'll search your entire database for any occurrences of that text in a SQL query. Note, the one thing you have to do is if you want to run this for more than just a single database, you'll have to change which database you're currently using and kind of run it once for each time. Now, using sys.SQL modules is a great way to search for any text that's inside of a stored procedure function or view. However, it's not going to capture if you want to search queries that are coming into your database that are just ad hoc, right? They're coming from either a user, through a connection through SSMS, or from an app, right, that's not using a stored procedure. These are just ad hoc queries coming to us. So unless you're using something like extended events or some other SQL tools to capture and log all of the query texts that are executed against your server, there's no way in SQL Server to see all of those ad hoc queries. However, even though there's no centralized location that stores every ad hoc query text, there's a way we can query most of our ad hoc queries, at least the ones that are running fairly often, and that's by looking at the cached execution plans. So anytime you execute a query, SQL Server will either generate an execution plan or go to the query plan cache to reuse an existing one if it already exists. Now, the plans in the cache do expire over time, and not every type of query execution plan will get saved there in that cache. But for the most part, if you have an ad hoc query that's getting triggered fairly often, there's a good chance that you're going to find it in the query execution plan cache. So to access those cache query plans, and in turn access the SQL queries that executed to generate those cache query plans, we can run dm execute cache plans and dm execute query plans. Now this query here will pull back the XML execution plan, because SQL Server stores execution plans in XML, and we have to just do some XML querying to get the data we need. So I've set this query up to basically pull out the SQL query itself from the execution plan, making it really easy to filter once again on something like a column name or a table name that exists in the SQL text itself. So the cool thing about querying the execution plan itself is that you can search and filter on a lot more things than just the SQL query. For example, in the past, I've used this to find where I'm getting implicit conversions in my query by looking for that specific XML element. I've also used this in one of my scripts to try to identify input parameters that are coming into a query that maybe have text in them that looks like it could be someone performing a SQL injection attack. So even though querying the cached execution plans won't give you 100% coverage of ad hoc queries, it will give you a lot more detail than just a query text itself, if that's what you're interested in. And for the queries that do get run a lot, ad hoc, that are maybe part of a report or some other app, they should be showing up in that cached execution plan. So that's it. I've included those starter templates for being able to search procedures and ad hoc queries for yourself down in the links below. It's linked to my blog post. You'll find those scripts there, so you can simply copy and paste, use them for yourself. I hope you'll find these scripts useful, and if you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you again next week.